Hi everyone, this is Jason from Metal Flesh. Today I will rank the entire Alice Cooper discography that takes into consideration the group Alice Cooper project and the solo releases. I will rank them all the way from getting the Bean tier all the way up to From Here to Eternity tier. From each release I will be picking up two highlight songs. I will try to stay away from the obvious hit songs. We're kicking things off with 1969's Pretty's For You. This is Alice Cooper's debut release, which barely resembles the band they would later become. Instead of hard rock, we get an album that explores psychedelic rock, experimental music, and avant-garde ideas inspired by Frank Zappa. This album also features the late 60s underground musical scene. The album is completely uneven, it lacks memorable hooks. I cannot finish this album. I tried so many times to listen to it, to push myself to like it. I just cannot get through it. Highlight song for me, I'm just going for one here, will be Reflected. For me, this one is getting the Bean tier. A year later, we see the release of Easy Action. The band here began moving closer to the sound that they would make them famous, while psychedelic influences remain. Although we have got stronger riffs, better songwriting, and also there are flashes here and there of brilliance that comes through the album. The production is again on the weak side. Several songs still feel unfinished. It's a great improvement comparing this one to the debut release, but there are better albums. Highlights here will be Return of the Spiders and Below Your Means. For me, this one goes to a C tier. I'm just going to put it there for now. I might move it up later. The following year we see Love It to Death. This is where everything comes together. The band here works with producer Bob Ezrin, which transformed the band, giving them a much bigger sound and tighter songwriting. The album introduced the classic Alice Cooper style of hard rock, the dark humor, the theatrical storytelling. Every member contributes here brilliantly. This album remains one of the defining hard rock albums in the early 1970s. Highlights for me will be Black Juju and Is It My Body. For me, this one will go to an A tier for now. In the same year, we see the release of Killer. This one, as stated, only released a few months after Love It to Death. Killer proved the band to be no one album wonder. The songwriting became darker, heavier, and more theatrical. Bob Ezrin here produces the album perfectly, and he balances the power and the atmosphere brilliantly. Alice's storytelling reached another level, and the band sounded incredibly confident here. There's hardly any weak moments, making this a great hard rock album ever released in 1971. Highlights here will be Under My Wheels and Dead Babies. I'm gonna put this on an A tier, just in front of Love It to Death. 1972, we see the release of Schools Out, one of the most famous rock albums of the decade. While the title track became a worldwide anthem, the album offers far more than just a single hit single. It combines hard rock with glam influences, clever arrangements, and very brilliant songwriting. A couple of deep tracks are slightly less memorable, but I believe this is the start of the Alice Cooper's golden era. Highlights for me will be Public Animal 9 and Schools Out. This one goes to From Here to Eternity. 1973, we see the release of Billion Dollar Babies. Many fans consider this as the greatest Alice Cooper album, and it's easily understood why. Every song is memorable, the production is outstanding, and the band performed at their absolute peak. The album perfectly balances the hard rock, glam, humor, and theatrical horror, and the outcome is just a defining, all-rounded, amazing record from start to finish. There's virtually no filler, and every member shines throughout. Highlights here will be Elected and Hello Hooray. For me, this is another From Here to Eternity release. Muscle of Love, it's the final album by the original Alice Cooper band. It's often overlooked as it followed the enormous success of Billion Dollar Babies. The songwriting remains strong, featuring plenty of catchy hard rock and memorable performances, but the production lacks some of the polish of the previous albums. A few songs are slightly less memorable, yet the album contains a few hidden gems here and there. Comparing this to Billion Dollar Babies, Muscle of Love feels slightly uneven in certain areas. Highlights for me will be Muscle of Love, amazing song, and Hard-Hearted Alice. For me, this is a B tier. So, we are entering the Alice Cooper solo era now, with Welcome to My Nightmare, which was released in 1975. As stated, this is the Alice Cooper's first solo album, and it couldn't have started more strongly. Rather than just simply copying the original band's formula, Alice here created a theatrical concept album centered around the nightmares of a child called Stephen. Alice here is backed by an outstanding band, and the album here manages to combine hard rock influences with some ballads and some progressive influences into just one unforgettable experience. Because once you listen to this band, this album, you don't listen to like songs, you just listen to like an album experience. The production is superb, the songs are considerably strong, and Alice proves he can succeed without the original band. Highlights for me will be Black Widow and Stephen. For me, this is a From Here to Eternity release. It just goes right here. The following year, 1976, we see the release of Alice Cooper Goes to Hell. Rather than just repeating the dark mood of its predecessor, Alice here embarks a Broadway-style rock with humor, glamour, and theatrical arrangements. The album is colorful, entertaining, and packed with memorable performances. Although it isn't as good or as consistent as Welcome to My Nightmare, a few songs feel more playful than essential, but the overall quality remains very high. The production, again, is excellent. Highlights here will be Go to Hell and I Never Cry. For me, this one will go to, I'm just going to put it as an A tier. I'm just going to put it right there for now. Lace and Whiskey, 1977. Alice here experimented with more commercial rock sound inspired by the 1950s rock and roll and Hollywood and classic pop. The album contains several enjoyable songs, but Alice sounds like he's having fun, but the songwriting is more uneven than the previous two releases. Some tracks feel lightweight, and the album lacks the dark atmosphere that many fans expected. Even so, although it remains enjoyable, the overall outcome is just and slightly uneven. Highlights here will be King of the Silver Screen and It's Hot Tonight. For me, unfortunately, this drops down to a D tier. From the Inside came out in 1978, one of Alice's most personal albums, and it's inspired by his stay in rehabilitation clinic while battling troubles with alcohol. The concept focuses around the people Alice met during his treatment, giving the song's real emotion depth beneath the humor. Alice here created an album that has really strong lyrics. There are some good songs, a few filler tracks, less memorable musically, but the storytelling is a highlight of his career. Comparing this to Lace and Whiskey, it's more emotional, more autobiographical. Highlights will be How You Gonna See Me Now and From the Inside. I'm just gonna put it on a C tier for now. I might move it later. Right, 1980, new decade, Flash the Fashion. Alice took another bold risk here, embracing the new wave punk synth-driven rock. The songs are much shorter and there is modern production. The album feels completely different from anything he's done before up to that point in his career. While some longtime fans were confused by this new direction, the experiment worked slightly. The album is energetic, catchy. It hasn't aged really well, personally. And yeah, there's quite a lot of uneven tracks or skippable stuff. Highlights here will be, for me, the absolute amazing song called Pain, and Clones Were All. For me, this is a D tier release. It's going to go right here. Special Forces came out in 1981. Alice here continues the new wave direction. Special Forces is quite a strange album. The production is modern, the songs are quirky, and the atmosphere always feels unsettling. You can actually tell that Alice has problem with alcohol again, and it has affected his songwriting. The album isn't as consistent as the earlier releases, whether that is the Alice Cooper the band or Alice Cooper the solo projects. Despite this, there are a few excellent ideas, but yeah, very uneven release, quite a lot of filler stuff. Highlights here will be 7 and 7 is, and You Want It, You Got It. For me, this still continues to a D tier release. I'm just going to put it right here. Zipper Cuts His Skin, 1982. This one is considered as one of forgotten Alice Cooper albums. This album continues the experimental approach with less memorable songwriting, and there are flashes of Alice's trademark with some humor, yet too many songs pass without leaving any lasting impression. This album goes from bad to terrible very quickly. Highlights here will be just one song, I Am the Future. For me, this goes to a Get in the Bin tier. These 80s albums are what Alice refers to his not good side of his career, like the Blackout albums. Like, he doesn't remember singing them or touring them or even recording them. So 1983, we see the release of Dada. Kinda overlooked album. Again, this one explores themes of mental illness, family conflict, and emotional isolation throughout the album. There are some part of good songwriting and some atmospheric arrangements. It is more artistic than commercial. Again, it's an album that passes without like really providing anything. Highlights here will be Dada and Pass the Gun Around. For me, this is another, I'm just going to put a D tier. I'm just going to place it right here. Which brings us to the comeback years. 1986, Constrictor came out. Alice returned with a completely new image and a very heavy sound. This album embraced the booming glam metal scene, featuring catchy guitar riffs, catchy choruses, and a slick 80s production. While the album doesn't reach the songwriting levels of his 70s work, it is a very successful album that introduced Alice into the new generation of rock fans. Highlights here will be The World Needs Guts and He's Back. For me, this is a really good release. It's just going to go to an A tier. I'm just going to place it right here. The following year, we see the release of Raise Your Fist and Yell. This one builds on the success of the previous album. Alice delivers even heavier album that pushed further into traditional heavy metal. Kane Roberts, or the Rambo, the music Rambo with the muscles and the guns that is like guitar, is on this album. Alice sounds absolutely confident, energized, and the album kicks butt from start to finish, to be frankly honest with you guys. Highlights here will be Freedom and Prince of Darkness. I really enjoy this album. I'm just going to put it into an A tier. Trust came out in 1989, Alice's biggest commercial success since the 70s. This one is produced by Desmond Child. Trust features like an all-star cast of songwriters and musicians, and it just results one hit after another. The production is very polished and it's radio friendly, and it helped Alice reach a new level of audience. What can I say about this album? From start to finish, one rock anthem after the other. There is not a single filler here, absolutely no filler. I just listened to this album from start to finish. Highlights here will be Why Trust You and I'm Your Gun. For me, this is a From Here to Eternity release. 1991, we see the release of Hey Stupid. Rather than repeating Trust, Alice made the guitar heavier and the songwriting is more varied. The album features again like an incredible list of guest musicians such as Slash, Ozzy, Joe Satriani, Steve Vai, Mick Mars, Nikki Sixx. The result is a strong hard rock album of the early 90s. Although not every song reaches the level of success as Trust, but the quality remains there. Highlights here will be Snakebite and Hey Stupid. I'm just gonna put this one down to a B tier for now. Last Temptation came out in 1994. It's a welcome return to a concept album format. It builds around a comic book story. The Last Temptation combines melodic hard rock influences with thoughtful lyrics and darker themes. Alice sounds inspired, and the songwriting is far stronger than many albums released during his blackout era. A couple of songs don't leave the same lasting impression as the highlights, but the album remains one hidden gem of his career. Highlights here will be The Amazing Nothing's Free and Lost in America. For me, this one will go to an A tier. I'm just gonna place it right here. 2000, we see the release of Brutal Planet. What can I say? A big surprise by Alice Cooper. Instead of chasing the modern trends, he embarked a very dark, heavy, industrialized heavy metal sound. The lyrics tackle war, religion, politics, and social issues, giving the album a very rare theme that Alice hasn't done before. The riffs are crashing, the production is powerful, and it seems like Alice just rebirth, like there's a rebirth of Alice here. It seems like he's really enjoying this album. He's a lot into it. Again, like a really strong release. Highlights here will be Wicked Young Man and Sanctuary. I'm just gonna have to put this one on an A tier. I'm just gonna place it right here. It seems like I'm giving a lot of albums like A's. Dragon Town, it came out in 2001. It seems like Alice took what he did in Brutal Planet and expanded it a little bit more. He introduced like a darker industrial sound. It just feels like a natural continuation of Brutal Planet. But apart from the dark industrial sound, it just brought some more atmosphere and melody. The songwriting sound still remains strong, and again the album explores themes about fear, violence, and human nature. It doesn't have the same impact as Brutal Planet. It serves an excellent companion to Brutal Planet. Comparing the two, Brutal Planet is slightly better. Highlights here will be Triggerman and Dragon Town. For me, this drops down to a B tier. I'm just going to place it here in between Hey Stupid and Muscle of Love. Right, we're continuing with the modern era, let's say the modern era of Alice Cooper. 2003, we see the release of The Eyes of Alice Cooper. After the two dark heavy metal and industrial albums, Alice again surprised us all by stripping everything back to a raw garage rock sound. The industrial influences are gone, replaced by bluesy guitars and classic rock riffs, and it feels like the band is playing live in the studio rather than just a studio release. Some people, including myself, would just miss the heaviness of Brutal Planet. This album sounds natural and fun, and not every song reaches the same level. There's a few filler tracks. Highlights here will be Love Should Never Feel Like This and What Do You Want From Me. For me, this one goes down to a C tier. Dirty Diamonds followed in 2005. This is slightly on the underrated side of Alice Cooper. It feels like the continuation of the previous album, but here Alice managed to incorporate more hard rock and blues and glam and classic Alice Cooper theatrics. This album is better balanced when compared to the previous release. The songwriting feels stronger, and Alice sounds very comfortable with this sort of style. There are a few filler tracks, but the quality is much better than the Eyes of Alice Cooper. Highlights here will be Dirty Diamonds and Sunset Babies. All got rabies. Lovely track. Right, this one will go to a B tier. I'm gonna put it in front of Dragontown. Right, 2008. Along Came a Spider. What can I say? Absolutely amazing album. I remember the day this one came out. Alice returned with a concept album, and it tells a story about a serial killer. There is a dark atmosphere that really suits him perfectly. There are several songs here that rank among the best songs in his career. The concept is very interesting, and it just develops from every song to the next one. I'm not gonna give anything out regarding the story. It's absolutely amazing. Highlights here will be Vengeance Is Mine and Kill by Love. For me, this is a From Here to Eternity release. It's a really good concept and a really good album. It has got some really good guest stars as well here. Right, 2011, we see the release of Welcome to My Nightmare. Here, Alice created a modern sequel to his Welcome to My Nightmare album. It mixes some nostalgia with fresh ideas. There are plenty of references to the 1975 classic, but the album can also stand well on its own. Some songs are stronger than others, but it doesn't quite reach the legendary status of the original. Do I listen to this? Not really. Did we really need a sequel? Again, not really. Production is brilliant, but again, I just don't reach out to listen to this one. Highlights here will be I'll Bite Your Face Off and Caffeine. I'm just gonna put it on a C tier. I'm just gonna place it here. I'm debating whether to drop it down to a D tier. I'm just gonna leave it there for now. 2017, we see the release of Paranormal. Absolutely amazing album. The songwriting is fresh, the production is excellent, and the performances are full of energy. Most importantly, several members of the original Alice Cooper band reunited for 2 songs here, and it's adding an emotional connection to the band's past. There's hardly any filler. I really enjoyed this album, much better than Welcome to My Nightmare. Highlights here will be Fireball, listen to how Alice sings here, and Dead Flies. For me, this is a very solid A tier release. I'm just gonna place it here for now. 2021, Detroit Stories, a heartfelt tribute to city where Alice Cooper's career began. Inspired by Detroit's legendary rock scene, the album mixes classic hard rock, garage rock and blues with tremendous enthusiasm. It's not as theatrical as its previous releases. Some songs are enjoyable, a few filler stuff, not very memorable. I don't listen to this one very often. I I tried to like it again. Like I pushed myself, like let's give it another listen. It doesn't really do it for me. Highlights will be Social Debris and Detroit City 2021. It's just gonna go to a C tier. I'm just gonna drop it here. 2023, we see the release of Road. This one inspired by life on tour. Road manages to capture the sound of Alice Cooper's current live band with very little studio polish. The performances are energetic, genuine, giving the album a fresh and organic feel. While it lacks the big theatrical concepts of the previous releases, the songwriting is solid throughout, and we've got some really good, excellent songs. Is it an Alice Cooper instant classic? No, but is it memorable in some areas, and does it contain like really good songs? Yes, it does. I really enjoyed this when it first came out. Highlights for me will be I Am Alice and Dead Don't Dance. For me, this is a high B tier. I'm just going to put it here for now. Which brings us to last year's release, The Revenge of Alice Cooper. More than 50 years after the Muscle of Love, the surviving members of the original Alice Cooper band reunited for a full studio album. Rather than relying purely on nostalgia, the band successfully recaptured much of the chemistry, humor, and musical personality that made their earlier records so special. Alice sounds remarkably strong. The bass playing is there, the drumming is energetic, and I don't know, the songwriting, it's just absolutely there. The album also carries some extra emotional weight throughout the inclusion of the material. I don't know, the band somehow manages to create an album as if it was made and recorded in the 70s. I don't know how to really explain it. It's just a really good release here. Highlights for me will be See You on the Other Side and Black Mamba. For me, this is a solid A tier release. I'm just gonna place it here. So there you have it, the entire Alice Cooper solo project and group, ranked from Get in the Bin all the way up to From Here to Eternity. Till next time, stay metal.